hello, 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 hello.
Good evening, everyone. So, last class of Environment PT365. So, we covered major locations of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and then the wildlife, the important wildlife across India, and few topics related to biodiversity. So, any doubts here?
So yesterday we discussed regarding the Sariska National Park, if I'm not mistaken. So Sariska Biosphere Reserve, I read in the newspaper, it's the second largest biosphere reserve of Asia.
Not Sariska.
So it's Simlipal.
Simlipal, yes.
I'm sorry, sir. So Simlipal is the second largest biosphere reserve of Asia. And sir, I checked the area, it's according to the newspaper, I checked the area with reference to which is declared by UNESCO. It's something else, and which is notified by India, it is something else. So this confusion, if you may clear that.
Yes. So actually regarding this, so there are few claims given by some of the websites. Sometimes local government, sometimes the state governments. So few of them are not updated, few of them are not cross-verified. So in the context of environment, the information related to this, it's better to go with the information given in international organizations as well as the Indian national government. Okay, so our ministry's website. So that is most authentic, we can say, because it varies, and many other times there is no clear cut division as such. So it's better to go with these, first international, then national. So anything else? So I hope you guys revise this part. So yesterday was very important for in terms of the locations, and many of the times these questions were asked. Okay, so whatever the questions which we had discussed, so they were the targeted ones. Okay, so and they're very factual in nature. So please revise it through maps. So that is how you can actually recollect them, remember them. Otherwise, it becomes too volatile. So you may remember it now. So after a month or so, if you open this book and see, so you will remember. तो ये पढ़ा था क्या मैंने? ठीक है? So revise it. All such factual information based, please revise it. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. The International Treaty to Protect the High Seas. So first of all, what is this high seas? Okay. So the infographics which is given in the material, this will be corrected actually. So there are some changes in this. So I'll show a different one. So please refer to this image. For maritime zones, you must have read about this in your oceanography, if you remember. So these are the zones basically beyond the land. Okay, the part which is beyond the land area. We know that in land area we have any country exercise sovereignty at all the three parts. What is the three parts? On the land, below the land, above the land. But technically, so beyond 100 kilometers you cannot use any of the aircraft. You need spacecraft. So that's why there is a boundary here. That is what we call it as Karman line. So these are the conditions over the land. But once you cross the land and you are into the ocean, okay, so you are into the waters, the oceans, the situation is different. Okay, so to what extent you can exercise the rights, sovereign rights? So there is a confusion. So to clear all this confusion, there is a United Nations Convention on Law of Seas, UN clause. So UN clause demarcates the different maritime zones. Okay, so from the land towards the ocean. Okay, these are the ones which we call it as the maritime zones. Okay, so the beginning point is what is called as baseline. This is what is baseline. So what is baseline? Baseline is the average line where the land ends and the ocean begins. Okay, so land जहाँ पर खत्म हो जाएगा, ocean शुरू होगा. That is what is baseline. So many of the time, some of the waters of ocean enters into this side of the baseline. Okay, for example, delta, lagoons, okay, estuaries. Some of them they penetrate into the land. Okay, all such water bodies become internal waters. Internal waters basically the waters on the land only. Okay. So internal waters have the same rules. The sovereignty extends along all the three locations. So from baseline up to 12 nautical miles, so we have territorial sea. From baseline up to 12 nautical miles, we have territorial sea. So territorial sea is basically equivalent of land in the ocean. It is equivalent of land in the ocean. So whatever the sovereignty we exercised, we also have the same kind of sovereignty here also. So if this is the water, on the water, below the water, above the water, total sovereignty of that particular country. Okay, so what do you mean by sovereignty? Nobody can enter without its permission. The airspace is also sovereign. Nobody can enter the airspace without taking their permission. Okay, airspace is also sovereign. The water also. Nobody can enter the water without taking the permission. There is one exception, I'll tell you. Okay, water is sovereign. And below the water also, everything belongs to that particular country. Whatever they want, they can do it. They want to change, they want to modify, create islands, artificial islands, everything. It is total sovereign. That is what is territorial sea. So only exception is that if somebody wants to just pass through it, it is called as innocent passage. Innocent passage is allowed. Any international shipping, they just want to pass without stopping, okay, they should be allowed. You cannot restrict it. If you want to impose certain conditions, you can impose, but you cannot completely stop it. Okay, so that is what is called as innocent passage. Innocent passage is allowed in territorial sea to support the international shipping. International transportation के लिए ये ज़रूरी है. ठीक है, that is what is territorial sea. So beyond that it is contiguous zone. So contiguous zone is 12 nautical miles from territorial sea. But if you count from the baseline, because everything is counted from the baseline only, so it becomes 24 nautical miles. It extends up to 24 nautical miles from the baseline. That is what is territorial sea. So what is the difference between territorial sea and contiguous zone? This is what is contiguous zone. So the difference between territorial sea and contiguous zone, below the land sovereignty, below the water sovereignty, above the water also sovereignty, but there is no airspace here. Airspace is the only difference, everything is same. Sovereignty extends up to contiguous zone on the surface of water as well as below the water. The idea of sovereignty ends here. Okay, so after the contiguous zone, there is no sovereignty as such. You don't own the land, but you exercise exclusive rights over the economic resources. Okay, it doesn't belong to you. Okay, so you cannot completely say this is my sovereign space, but whatever is there as economic resources, that belongs to you. That is what is called as exclusive economic zone. That extends up to 200 nautical miles. 200 nautical miles from baseline. This is already asked in UPSC. Okay, 200 nautical miles from baseline. Everything is measured from the baseline only. Okay, so that means whatever you find in the waters, below the water, okay, everything belongs to this particular country only. In the water, the majorly fish resource. Below the water, majorly petroleum and natural gas. Okay, it belongs to this particular country only. In most of the country, the continental shelf ends before this 200 nautical miles only. But still the exclusive economic zone extends up to 200 nautical miles. In most of the cases, because 200 nautical miles is sufficient width. Okay, so most of the continents will not have this wide continental shelf. But in some places, it will cross even the 200 nautical miles also. For example, eastern coast of northeast USA. Okay, where there is a very wide continental shelf, or the western Europe. In that case, the exclusive economic zone extends up to the edge of the continental shelf. So basically, exclusive economic zone ends either at 200 nautical miles or at the edge of the continental shelf. Normal rule is 200 nautical miles. Exception is only where there is beyond the 200 nautical miles. Okay, normal rule is up to 200 nautical miles. And whatever the sea is beyond this is what is called as high seas. Okay, high seas are like open to everyone. Okay, nobody exercise any sovereignty, nobody exercise any rights here. But however, there is not much of economic resources within the water, because most of the resources are found only here. Most of the fish is found only here. 90% of the marine life is found only in the continental shelf. The open oceans don't host much of life in the surface. So that is why they are called as blue deserts. The open oceans are called as blue deserts. Okay, this is what is high seas. So who looks after high seas? International Seabed Authority. This is also a body established under UN clause. So if somebody wants to extract any resource from the bottom of the high seas, you have to apply in front of International Seabed Authority. Okay, so they will give it on lease, then you can extract, and then if you want you can extend. Okay, so if there are no opponents at all. Okay, the way India is doing exploration in Central Indian Ocean Basin. Okay, so for polymetallic nodules. Okay. So now comes the topic high seas. Okay, this is what is high seas. Is that clear? It is beyond everyone's jurisdiction. Nobody exercises any rights here. Since it is beyond everyone's jurisdiction, if there is any kind of pollution or any kind of environmental issue here, nobody cares about this. क्योंकि जो सबका है वो किसी का नहीं है. There is huge amount of pollution which is happening. Okay, so in the present, last century and this century it is going to increase more. Okay, what is the source of pollution in this high seas? Oil spill. The oil tankers which move from one place to another, it may result in oil spill. And they also dump huge amount of waste intentionally. Okay, so and many of the times these the waste which is carried by the ocean currents, they get stuck within these high seas in the regions of Gyre. The way Great Pacific garbage patch is there, that's all belongs to high seas. So nobody cares about this. So because of which over a period of time the pollution in this region has increased. Okay, so we did not have any kind of convention or protocol for this. So now we have a new treaty to control the high seas. So that is what is International Treaty to protect the high seas. So this treaty was finalized after a conference. It was called as Intergovernmental Conference on Maritime Diversity of Areas Beyond National Jurisdiction. Okay, so it's called as BBNJ. Biodiversity of Areas Beyond National Jurisdiction. Because this is totally beyond national jurisdiction. ठीक है, so एक बहुत पहले से इसके ऊपर बात हुआ था. So this talks was going on for a long time, and then it was finally agreed. So it was adopted. The treaty was adopted. Okay, so that is now it is adopted as part of UN clause only. UN clause is the overall convention. As a part of this UN clause, they have adopted this treaty. So now this is open for signature and ratification. Once 60 countries ratifies this, then this protocol will come into force. Okay, so it has not happened yet. So recently UN has adopted this treaty. Okay, so it has said, it has given its approval. Okay, so but the countries have to adopt this, countries have to ratify this. So what are the important provisions of this treaty? So it tries to bring the normal pollution control norms into the high seas. Okay, so for example, most common principle which is applied in the territorial sea is the polluter pays principle. Okay, what is a polluter pays principle? Whoever is doing the pollution, they are responsible. If somebody is responsible for oil spill in the continental shelf, they will have to compensate for it. So that is what is polluter pays principle. So such kind of principles are going to be applicable here, because till now there was no rules as such. Okay, they are trying to reduce the overall pollution and control the overall pollution in the high seas. And it also requires that the parties must assess the potential environmental impacts of any of the planned activities beyond their jurisdiction. For example, so India has a very wide continental shelf towards the western part of Maharashtra and Gujarat. We are planning any project here, and that may have implication into the regions even beyond that jurisdiction. It may impact the regions in the high seas also. So it becomes our responsibility to assess the overall impact and take precautions for this. Okay, that is what is, we have to have a potential assessment of the potential environmental impacts. And it also recognizes the important rights of the indigenous people. Okay, so many of these islands, small islands, whose rights are usually not recognized, who usually get impacted by the pollution in the high seas, even that is recognized, their rights and their traditional knowledge, all of these are recognized. And it also intends to create large scale marine protected areas. Marine protected areas, what are they? Equivalent of the protected areas over the land, the way we have national parks, wildlife sanctuaries. In the same way, in the marine region, we also have marine protected area. For example, Gulf of Mannar is a marine protected area. In the same way, it wants to create marine protected areas in the high seas also. Okay, so and it also is planning to set up COP, the way COP is held for other conventions. So it is going to have its own COP also. So this is the topic. Any doubts here?
Sir, in the backdrop of China releasing a weather balloon over USA, so if
Weather balloon
over USA last year, so supposedly it is a weather balloon, so it will be in the stratosphere. So is there any treaty to go to regulate on like about space or like about the national airspace?
So there is no treaty to regulate the outer space. It's called as the outer space. Beyond 100 kilometers, it is called as the outer space. Okay, so below 100 kilometers, it is airspace. So airspace is considered to be totally sovereign. Okay, so but outer space, it is not sovereign. Legally, if you go by the legal terms, the extent of airspace goes up to the edge of atmosphere. Okay, so it may go up to 64,000 kilometers. So that becomes practically impossible to manage. And second thing, for satellite communication, many of these satellites are just freely roaming. So do you think satellites will be able to take permission before it enters this space? It's practically not possible. So the community overall agreed. Okay, so through as a general understanding, it is agreed that let's keep it as 100, but legally it is not defined. So there comes the issue.
So sir, if in the near future, suppose like satellites are being used as a surveillance system, so if they use anti-satellite missiles, so there's no treaty as such.
There is no treaty as such, even for that. Huh? Which one? That is regarding the nuclear testing. Okay, nuclear testing के लिए है. There is no treaty or law to regulate the movement or to punish those who violate. There is nothing like that.
Sir, can you just repeat the exception that you said related to continental shelf?
So I was saying the exclusive economic zone extends up to 200 nautical miles from the baseline. Okay, so this is the normal rule. In case of the continental shelf extending beyond this 200 nautical miles. Okay, so in that case only the exclusive economic zone extends up to the edge of continental shelf. And edge of continental shelf doesn't mean only the shelf part. It includes the slope as well as rise. There are three parts. continental shelf, this is continental slope, and this is continental rise, the lowermost part of the continental landmass. After that comes the oceanic floor, abyssal plain or any other part. Okay? So in that case it goes up to the edge of the continental rise. So that is considered to be part of the overall part of the continental shelf. Anywhere. Yes, in many cases we have this kind. So I gave the example of northeastern part of North America. So there also we have a very wide continental shelf. Okay, wherever the continental shelf goes beyond that, so there this rule applies.
Sir, if there are two countries whose surrounding territorial sea lies within 12 nautical miles, whose sovereignty will be considered?
So many of the times it happens that two countries share the maritime boundary. Okay, so maritime neighbors are those countries who share the maritime boundaries. It can be there in any of these parts. Okay, so the territorial sea contiguous zone or exclusive economic zone. So anywhere two countries jurisdiction overlaps, they will become maritime neighbors. In that case, the central point will be considered as the boundary between both the countries.
So, sir, UNCLOS will decide that middle point will be considered.
No, nobody will decide. If there is any dispute, then it will go there. Okay, if there is any dispute, then only it goes there. Otherwise, usually it is decided bilaterally. Okay, so but few of the countries don't follow this UNCLOS. UN clause को मानते ही नहीं हैं, they don't agree. For example, so they don't agree on UN clause and they say the entire South China Sea is China's. So it has constructed artificial islands and they are saying that they have links, historical links, cultural links. तो वैसे तो पूरा इंडियन ओशन हमारा हो जाएगा. Thalweg principle. Okay, Thalweg principle is used to identify the midpoint, okay, which marks the boundary. Okay, next one, coral reef breakthrough. So you guys have already studied about the coral reef. I don't have to talk about coral reef, I hope so. So coral reefs, whenever we say coral reefs, they refers to the colonies of coral polyps who have built a huge colony with the help of algae called as zooxanthellae. They are also a large group of organisms. Okay, they live majorly in the tropical waters within the well-lit zone, okay, so of the continental shelf. So other than this, there are few other corals, okay, so who are deep sea, okay, so which lives in the bottom in dark condition. They are not reef building corals. They don't build huge colonies. They don't support these other forms of life. It is only these tropical coral reefs which supports the life. Okay, so they support one of the richest life on the surface of earth. In fact, much richer than the biodiversity of a tropical rainforest itself. Okay, so in terms of animal diversity, okay, in the kingdom Animalia, there are a total of 35 phylum. In that you will find 31 phylums in this coral reefs only. Okay, so 31 out of 35 phyla of animal kingdom are found in the coral reefs. Phylum is the largest division, okay, so below kingdom. And this is what is we call as the coral reefs, and the coral reefs are threatened by coral bleaching. So you would have studied about this. Okay, so to control the overall coral bleaching and the destruction of corals, because the destruction of coral reefs result in the destruction of the marine biodiversity, the overall diversity would start to decrease, right? So to control that, we have an international initiative which is called as International Coral Reef Initiative. Okay, so International Coral Reef Initiative is basically an initiative majorly promoted by few of the countries with huge amount of coral reefs. Okay, so you can remember Australia, the Great Barrier Reef. And up, so I hope you know about the Great Barrier Reef. The longest living structure on the surface of Earth. So this initiative was started in the year 1994, and India has also joined it because India also has a good number of coral reefs. There are 111 countries who are part of this. Okay, so not everyone are required to be part of this because you don't find coral reefs everywhere. Okay, so temperate polar regions में तो नहीं मिलता है. ठीक. So there is also another initiative or funding group which is called as Global Fund for Coral Reef. Global Fund for Coral Reef. So it aims to supply finance and financing mechanism towards the coral protection measures, the various measures to protect the coral reefs of the world. Okay, it follows a blended finance instrument. Okay, what do you mean by blended finance? So using multiple finance, private, public, as well as donors, and as well as raising it as investment. Okay, so as returns. Okay, like this multiple options are kept, and they take the finance and they invest the finance to generate more finance also. It's like a financial facility. Okay, so that Global Fund for Coral Reef. So in addition to this, you would have read about high level climate champions. कहाँ पर पढ़ा था? हमारा PT365 में पढ़ा था. In the first class, I taught you about this. Okay, so usually 2 persons are appointed as high level climate champions. Okay, so we have these high level climate champions. They are appointed by whom? The COP. Okay, COP of UNFCCC. So now all three together have launched an initiative called as Coral Reef Breakthrough. It is the initiative of all three. Okay, तीनों मिलके launch हुआ है. So what is this Coral Reef Breakthrough? It's like a mission. Okay, it's like a mission with a specific target to be achieved. Okay, they have a target of preventing extinction of at least 125,000 square kilometers of coral reef. Because you know, with the global warming, climate change, ocean acidification, ocean warming, sea level rise, increasing storms, El Nino, and various other reasons, the coral reefs are declining. Overall area is declining. Okay, there are more than 50% of the coral reef which are present in the last century is gone. Okay, so all of them have got bleached. Okay, so to stop this, they have this major initiative. Okay, Coral Reef Breakthrough Initiative. So the important thing, you have to remember this target. The overall target is 125,000 square kilometers of coral reef to be protected. Okay, to protect them from extinction. And they want to do this through mitigating the local drivers of loss. Okay, so because local issues are the main reason. In some cases it is the pollution, thermal pollution. In other cases it is the sedimentation. Okay, whatever the local drivers are there, they are trying to stop this. And they want to align with the 30 by 30 target. कहीं पे सुना था 30 by 30 target? Kunming Montreal Protocol. Okay, so the framework, not protocol. Okay, framework. So in that 30 by 30 is to protect 30% of the entire coastal, marine, okay, inland water ecosystem by 2030. Okay, so they want to align with that. And in addition to this, they also want to raise some investments. Anyway, we have the Global Fund for Coral Reef to hey, so they will support in raising the investment. Okay, so this was the item, news item. So here there is also another coral which is recently in news. So that is staghorn. Staghorn coral. It's a highly endangered corals. So of Caribbean Sea. Okay, so Caribbean Sea में मिलता है, and they are not very common. उनका number बहुत कम हो गया. Recently, it has been found that so there are certain genomes of these corals which are resistant against this white band disease. White band disease is a disease which causes the coral bleaching. Okay, so bleaching, white band, you can remember. Okay, these are three things which you have to remember. ये कहाँ पर होता है? Staghorn coral, Caribbean Sea. Okay, so it is resistant to white band disease. White band disease क्या होता है? Coral bleaching का होता है. ठीक है, तो मेजर तो यही है, बाकी एक बार गो थ्रू कर लेना. It is a critically endangered species as per IUCN. हाँ, wetlands in news. चलो wetlands in news थोड़ा सा एंड में करते हैं, है ना? जब अभी थोड़ा सा एनर्जी है तो पुश करते हैं, एंड में थोड़ा सा इसको इजीली कवर होगा. इम्पोर्टेंट है.
हार्ड कोरल एंड सॉफ्ट कोरल में क्या फर्क होता है?
The soft corals are referring to this bottom corals only. Okay, hard corals are these, the corals which build shell around themselves, the reef building corals, they are the hard corals.
Okay.
The bottom corals, the cold water corals, they are all soft corals.
Okay, thank you.
Artificial corals is living organism.
Artificial coral as such, it's not a living organism. Maybe they would have extracted some of the coral reef and the store stones from these, okay, for this aquarium or something. I guess that should be the artificial coral.
Sir, below वो biorock technology का जो question आया था.
Biorock is different. That is not artificial coral. So what is this biorock technology? So wherever there is this coral reefs which are under degradation or bleaching, okay, so there they are going to, if this is the floor where the coral reefs are there, they are going to insert a metallic frame which is capable of passing electricity. Okay, so metallic frame, and through this frame they pass very light electric current. Okay, so very light, बहुत कम voltage का होगा. So that helps in building the calcium carbonate. Okay, so it's present in the water, right? So it starts to build, and it is there around these degrading corals. So it supports these corals in coming back. As it becomes stronger, as the reef becomes strengthened, even the algae would come back. Okay, then they start to build. It's like the natural process of regeneration is slightly pushed. थोड़ा सा accelerate करने का कोशिश है. That is what is biorock technology. Biorock refers to this, the metallic frame which is inserted and which is supporting the regrowth of coral reef. It is being implemented by Gujarat coast, by the Gujarat Forest Department.
Sir, there was a PYQ about the deep ocean corals. So what is the nature of those? Like suppose this is invertebrate and hard shell. So
So deep ocean corals are also the same. It's all the corals. What are corals? Corals are marine invertebrates. Okay, so very primitive. They evolved much earlier. Okay, they evolved even during they were there even during the pre-Carboniferous times. Pre-Cambrian times. Okay, around 540 to 570 million years, that is when they evolved. They're one of the oldest, and they are invertebrates. They are very soft-bodied. So even the hard corals are also soft-bodied only. But they build a shell around themselves. Okay, to protect them, their body, their colony, they build a shell around themselves. That building requires that energy, and that is supported by the zooxanthellae, which lives in a symbiotic relationship. Okay, these soft corals are like, there are other categories of corals which lives in the bottom. They feed on the oceanic floor. They don't have this symbiotic relationship.
Sir, corals are protected under which law? Corals are protected under which law in India?
So corals, specifically there is no separate law as such, but you can relate to the Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, so Wildlife Protection Act provisions can be used to punish those who bring any harm to the coral reefs.
ये भी Schedule 1 में ही है?
No, it's not specifically mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
So let's move forward. So we'll come back to this part. And this is important. Don't think it is not important. Important है, इसलिए थोड़ा सा आराम से करते बाद में. So पहले ये वाला खत्म कर लेते हैं. Other biodiversity related news. All small news items, you can expect a direct question here. No need to go in too detail. That's why we have given in small box items. Okay, so you will just expect a simple and direct question. You just have to remember this in what context. So what is this Operation Kachap? Not ketchup, it's Kachap. Kachap. So Kachap से आप लोग याद रख सकते हैं. This is related to turtle. Turtle. Okay, so it's a specific operation, not as a project as such. Okay, not like a Project Tiger, Project Elephant, not like a program as such. It was a specific operation conducted by DRI, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. So where they interrupted the illegal wildlife trafficking which was happening. So there they saved nearly 1,000 baby gangetic turtles. Okay, so 955, approximately around 1,000 turtles were saved. Okay, so that operation is what is called as Operation Catch Up. So here what you have to know, so what are the different types of difference between the turtles and tortoise? What is the difference between turtles and tortoise? Not necessarily. Okay, so we have freshwater turtles also. Okay, freshwater turtles, marine turtles. So turtle is water-based, tortoise is land-based. That is the difference. Tortoise is land-based. Turtle is marine water-based, and in that it can have freshwater turtles as well as marine turtles. Okay, so marine turtle, the most commonly heard marine turtle, olive ridley turtle. Okay, so which makes a mass nesting around the Odisha coast, Andhra Pradesh coast. Okay, olive ridley turtles. Any other turtles? Sea turtles in India? Leatherback turtle in Nicobar, Great Nicobar के पास में मिलता है. Okay, so and green turtle is there. So there are total of 7 different types of sea turtles. Okay. So gangetic turtle is a type of freshwater turtle which is found in India, and we have a good number of freshwater turtles. Okay. What is this cryptobiosis? Cryptobiosis is a state wherein the organism is living but has no signs of life. Okay, so where it enters into this state where there is no visible signs of life at all. Okay, so there is a very, very faint metabolic activity which is going on. Okay, so in that state it is capable of surviving for a very long period of time. Okay, so in movies you must have heard about the cryo sleep. है ना, तो ऐसे ही समझ लो, ये natural है, वो तो हमारा imagination है. ठीक है? So cryptobiosis is basically the state where a living organism enters and survives for a very long period of time, and it shows in fact practically no visible signs at all, but it can be recovered. Okay, so that is in news because recently, so scientists has brought back microscopic worms which was in this state in the Siberian permafrost for nearly 46,000 years. Okay, उसको वापस लेके आए हैं. तो कहाँ से लेके आए, तो कौन सा क्या नाम है, ये इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. क्रिप्टोबायोसिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर अस. So next one, facultative parthenogenesis. Facultative parthenogenesis. So it basically means giving birth without the requirement of opposite sex. Okay, so that is also called as virgin birth. Okay, so it happens that usually during this kind of reproduction, so the female egg cell gets divided into the 4 parts, 4 cells, and one of the cell will fertilize the egg, and that causes the fertilization, and then the embryo will develop. Okay, so that kind of reproduction is what is called as facultative parthenogenesis. So there are few species which are known for it. Okay, so there are few in the group of birds, fish, lizards and snakes. For the first time we have recorded this kind of reproduction in a crocodile. Okay, so in a crocodile it was recorded. This is the ability to produce the offspring asexually by sexually reproducing organism. eDNA, did we cover eDNA earlier? Okay. So what is eDNA, environmental DNA? See, the genetic material which is present inside the body of any organism, it is not only it's present in nucleus. So even in mitochondria also it is present. Okay, so like this. So whatever the genetic material, it will get released into the environment in the surrounding area wherever this particular organism is living. Okay, so through some or the other mechanism it comes out, the dead cells or dead matter, okay, excreta or it various other matter. So it comes out and it is there in the usually environment. So you want to know the presence of a particular organism. It is not necessary that you have to capture that organism and find out its genetic material. So you just have to capture this environmental DNA. Okay, so earlier we did not have, now we are developing this technology to access this environmental DNA. So for example, in a lake, you want to assess the overall biodiversity. You don't have to individually count the number of species over there. Okay, collect the water sample and check what are the different types of genetic material which is found over there. So that will give you the numbers. So all such kind of DNA which you can take it from the environment is what is called as environmental DNA. So recently using environmental DNA, Devonton golden mole was discovered for the first time. So now golden mole is a species which is found in various environment, and there are different types of golden moles. But this is one type of golden mole which was elusive, very shy animal which lives completely underground, and it is totally blind. So this is how it looks. Okay, so small rat kind of animal which lives completely underground. It is totally blind. Okay, for the first time after 87 years, this was discovered using environmental DNA. ये कहाँ पर होता है? South Africa. Okay, so it's usually found in South Africa. Tropicalization. So there are two terms here. One is tropicalization, another one is borealization. So tropicalization is basically in those regions where you don't have the tropical kind of climate or tropical kind of environment, you are finding those conditions. है ना? So for example, what is the nature of tropical climate? So high temperature, okay, throughout the year there is hot weather conditions, there is good amount of precipitation. So now we start to experience this in the higher latitudes due to global warming. Okay, global warming and changing climatic conditions, and because of which you will find some of the species which are exclusively found in the tropical region, now they will start to migrate towards the temperate regions, right? So that is basically referring to the tropicalization. Okay, the tropical marine species moving towards the poles. Okay, so as well as and retraction of temperate species. वही है, तो उनका जो मतलब उनका जो एरिया है फिर वो ऊपर शिफ्ट होगा. Okay, that is what is overall shifting. So borealization refers to expansion of temperate forest into the tundra region. So in tundra region you don't experience any forest, right? So there you will find the seasonal lichens, mosses, right? So there you will start to experience the growth of plants and trees. So that is what is called as borealization. Okay, so the term is important. What is the meaning of it? So that is what is required for us. इनकॉइस के बारे में जानते हो? Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services. So we have different organization for different disaster warnings. So what is the organization which is nodal agency for cyclone warning? IMD. ठीक है? So like this, most of the weather related is warned by IMD. Okay, so in case of tsunami, we have INCOIS. So it's basically a body under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Okay, so under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, it's a body with headquarters in Hyderabad. Okay, Hyderabad mein. Its overall function is to provide the ocean data, information and advisory services related to the oceans. Okay, so how does it give ocean tsunami warning? It has installed the floating buoys. Okay, so over the entire the Bay of Bengal as well as Arabian Sea. Okay, so whenever there is an earthquake, so this floating instrument will immediately detect it, and the signal will be sent to INCOIS. And INCOIS will give warning to all the coastal states within 10 minutes. Not only for the Indian coastal region, in the entire surrounding northern Indian Ocean, it issues warning. Okay, this was developed after the 2004 tsunami. Inquest was there before that, but the tsunami warning was developed later. Okay, so this is in news because recently it was deploying 2 deep sea gliders into Bay of Bengal to study the overall climate change. That is not important, but the overall body is important. It comes under which ministry? Ministry of Earth Sciences. It is responsible for tsunami as well as storm surge. First, census of water bodies. So overall, the water bodies, the land-based water bodies of India. Okay, for the first time we had a census of water bodies. How many water bodies are there in which state? Okay, which state is leading, which one is not leading? This can be a potential question for this year. So which ministry has done this? Ministry of Jal Shakti. Okay, Ministry of Jal Shakti has done this. And overall it has tried to assess the number of water bodies in India. And as per this census, it is coming to approximately around 25 lakhs. Okay, 24.24 lakhs. Approximate yaad rakho kafi hai, 25. So in that it is found that 2.9% are in urban areas and 97% are in rural areas. Urban areas obviously kami hoga. So because jo bhi tha humne khatam kar diya. Okay, we have converted most of the urban water bodies, during the unplanned urbanization. Okay, so 97% is rural area, and nearly 3% is urban area. So which state has the highest number of water bodies? West Bengal, second is UP, third is Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so another potential question. Okay, so already आ चुका है ऐसे वाला wetlands के ऊपर आए हैं, ठीक है? So West Bengal has the highest, then UP, then Andhra Pradesh. So least water body is not that important. बहुत छोटा states, union territory है, वहाँ पर तो हम count नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है? So in this you can, it will be surprising to know that the natural water bodies are very less, nearly only 22%. Okay, so the man-made water bodies are 78%, that is major ones. Okay, this is something which is you have to remember in the context of our Ramsar sites also. Okay, so whether it is a natural or man-made. Okay, so majority of them are actually man-made only. Few of them are natural. You have to remember the natural ones. Okay, that is easier. So what about MISTI scheme? So MISTI से आप लोग सोच सकते हैं ये कहाँ का स्कीम हो सकता है? और बंगाल. So MISTI is the short form of Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitat and Tangible Incomes. Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitat and Tangible Incomes. So this scheme was launched on the last year's Environment Day. So that is on 5th June. Why 5th June is celebrated as Environment Day? It was on this day the Stockholm Conference was held in 1972. So this is a comprehensive scheme for the mangroves, which is trying to manage the overall mangrove afforestation, reforestation, as well as provide some economic income opportunity for the local population. Okay, so 2 major objectives: restoration of mangrove as well as economic income opportunity. Okay. So reward program. What is this reward program? It's a program for watershed development. So what is a watershed? Watershed क्या होता है? Watershed is an area of land from where all the waters, both the surface as well as the ground, okay, the one which flows above it as well as below it, flows into one single channel. Finally, this entire area will be called as watershed. The watershed of an area is assessed before we try to develop the entire area naturally as well as to enhance the water resources. Okay, we have running a program called as Integrated Watershed Development Program. Okay, so the centrally sponsored scheme, okay, which was there in implementation since last 35 years. Okay, so now this is part of the Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Integrated Watershed Development Scheme. By assessing the overall watershed, we will try to develop this area, because there will be some kind of natural flow within this watershed. Okay, we can easily catch that flow and very easy to augment the water resources available. That is what is called as watershed development. Very effective method of water conservation. You want to conserve the water in this area, so first map the watershed. In any area you can map multiple watershed. Okay, so this is one watershed, this is another watershed. So like this. So usually the entire district is divided into multiple watershed. Then they do the development accordingly. That is what is called as watershed development. Okay, so there is this program, reward program is the World Bank supported program. So for watershed development, it is under implementation for 5 years from 2021 to 2026. So presently under implementation in Karnataka and Odisha. Okay, so they may not ask the full form. They may not give the full form. ये बंद कर दिया. पहले तो usually full form देते थे. So now they are directly asking the short form, and they are directly saying in what context. So you have to remember. So reward program. So what are the things which you have to remember here? Reward program is in the context of watershed development. Okay, so watershed development and World Bank assisted. So the year is from 2021 to 2026. So under implementation in Karnataka and Odisha. Yes, both are different. Institutions and organizations in news. WII. So earlier in one of the topic we had discussed about WII. We brought this WII. Where was that? Tiger census. This is one of the organization involved in tiger census along with National Tiger Conservation Authority, NTCA. So what is this Wildlife Institute of India? It is an autonomous body under the ministry, our ministry. Okay? And it was established in the year 1982. Headquarters, Dehradun. Okay. Wildlife Institute of India. So, any of you have been there? Wildlife Institute of India? No? So in fact, Wildlife Institute of India also provides some training and some program. Okay, so like a certificate program. Okay, so or programs to enhance your skill. So in the context of wildlife protection in India. Okay, so and those who are interested can take part in this if you get time. Okay. It will get added to your DAF. थोड़ा बहुत महंगा है. So if you clear Indian Forest Service, you will become automatically part of this. Okay. So there are many surveys and reports given by this. One of the report I told you, the tiger census, this is also part of this. So another important report is India's State of India's Birds report. So this is released by Wildlife Institute of India in association with Zoological Survey of India. Okay, ZSI. And there have been few questions on birds in the recent times. Okay, you just have to know the names of the birds. Okay, so and know that it is a bird. Okay, many of the times that would be sufficient. And in few important cases, you have to know little bit more detail. Okay, as per the latest survey, so few things which is important you have to remember. The overall bird species richness has decreased. It has reduced. Okay, so logical hai. Overall biodiversity is decreasing, overall species richness is decreasing. It is the same case with the bird also. And another thing which you have to remember is long distance migration have declined. This can be made as a statement. Long distance migration would increase or decrease due to climate change. Climate change की वजह से decrease होगा या increase होगा? Overall impact is decrease. In some cases it may increase, but overall impact is decrease. Okay, so what is the logic here? Why do the birds migrate? For breeding, then for food. ठीक है, and most importantly, most common reason behind the migration is to escape the harsh conditions. Most of the bird migration happens from the polar regions. Polar regions and Siberian regions, Central Asian regions where the winters are too harsh. Okay, they are the ones which migrate towards the southern hemisphere. Because when it is winter over there, it is summer in the southern hemisphere. They come all the way. Right? So, and there are one or two things, let me just clarify this. So, the most of the regions near to the polar or temperate, okay, so they become very, very cold. So, whatever the birds which are present here, they migrate towards the southern hemisphere. And these specific paths taken by these birds are called as flyway. So, how many flyways are there in the world? 8. Total of 8 flyways. So, I guess last time when I checked. Okay, so check it again, maybe. One of the important one of this is Central Asian flyway. Central Asian flyway passes through India. Okay, so other than this, there are many of them which goes like this, goes like this. North America se jate, Atlantic se jate, Pacific se jate. So the many of them are in different locations. So one of them is the one which passes through India. Okay, so these paths which are taken by these birds while moving from the northern hemisphere to southern hemisphere, they are the ones which are called as flyway, and the Central Asian flyway passes through India. So flyway is a very long distance, and the birds which are migrating will need to take rest in between, the resting places. India has many such resting places where they stop for some time. Okay, they energize, they eat, they drink, okay, take rest. Then they start their journey again. Okay, so that is what is resting places. There are many such resting places over India. So what is the impact of climate change on this? The first thing, their takeoff will also get impacted, because these birds, they don't have any kind of clock, watch, alarm, nothing. They all run by natural cues. The change of seasons, the change of temperature, okay, that will work as a natural cue. Because of the climate change, because of global warming, the region is warming up here. So they will not get the cue very easily, very early. Because of the warm summers, which are overall temperature is rising, the winters are not early, the winters are becoming late. So they would start the migration late, because this region is also becoming warmer. Right? They would start the migration late, and by the time they travel their journey, they will start to feel that overall the season is over, because overall temperature is high. They will go back. The overall journey is shorter. This is one of the common observation in most of the flyways. The length of these migration paths have reduced, and the impacts are manifold. मतलब बहुत सारे impacts है इसमें. Okay, the migration path gets impacted. The overall size of the flock will get impacted. Some of them will get food, some of them will not get food, because wherever there are nesting places, they are becoming drier. Okay, wherever the water bodies are there, they are becoming drier. They are not getting good grass, good insects. Okay, so if they don't get much of stopover places, their migration will get impacted. Their energy is not that high to travel all the way. Their numbers will start to reduce. Right?
Sir, how they are able to identify the specific direction in which they should fly?
Good question. They use various different methods for this. Okay, so including the wind direction, including the magnetic field of Earth. Okay, so and all of this is genetically, it is imbibed in them. They follow over a period of time. Okay, there are various such things. Wind direction, in fact the direction of the different topographies. Okay, so different topographies, direction, they remember this. Genetically it is there. Okay, they also use the magnetic field of Earth. Okay, anything else? So as per the latest report, their long distance migration have declined almost by 50%. Okay, so the few of the important birds which are mentioned here, so that is important, you have to remember them. Okay, let me just show you the pictures of them. so if you can remember, it will be easy. Okay, those are in news, at least those in news, you have to remember that. So one is Indian skimmer. This is Indian skimmer. Okay, so most common in the northern plains, around the rivers. Okay, so Ganga, Yamuna, Son, Chambal, Mahanadi. Okay, Indian skimmer. Black belly tern. Tern is not T-U-R-N, tern. It's T-E-R-N, tern. There are different varieties of tern. Black belly tern. It looks very similar. Okay, this is what is black belly tern. It is also in the same region. Okay, so Bengal florican I have already told you. One of the three bustard bird. This is present in the eastern parts. Okay, so the alluvial grasslands, there you find them, the wetter grasslands. Whereas the other two bustards are found in the dry grasslands. Okay, and bears poached. This is what is bears poached. So please don't call it as duck. Okay, so this is limited to northeast region, only in the wetlands of Assam and Manipur. Okay, very rare. Bears poached is very rare. Poached. Zoological Survey of India, ZSI. So it's a body, it was established in 1916, headquarters, Kolkata. Yes. So it's basically body which is acting like a nodal agency for all the animal related. Okay, so for plant related we have botanical survey, and for animal related every function we have zoological survey. So one of the recent report released by ZSI is the flora and fauna database. Okay, it's basically the database of animal species in India, and it regularly updates them. So that is recently updated. So no need to go in too detail, because every year तो ये increase होना ही है, decrease तो नहीं हो सकता है, because every year we try to document more species, we find more species, all of these are documented. So but newly added ones are like important one, let's try to remember. Okay, so in this Sela macaque it is in news. Okay, so it's because of that it is newly discovered species actually. Macaque क्या होता है? What is this macaque? Monkey. Okay, so it looks very similar to our normal monkey only. Okay, so but it is a new species which is discovered in Arunachal. Okay, named after Sela Pass. It's a pass in Arunachal. In addition to this, white-cheeked macaque is also the one which was discovered here. ये भी अरुणाचल से ही है. White cheek, you can see its cheek, it is white. So it is actually present in Tibet. For the first time it was discovered in Arunachal. Okay, so that is why it is in news. Okay, white-cheeked macaque. So another important one is yellow-rumped flycatcher. See, all of this you can just expect a direct question. What is this? Okay, वो क्या होता है? एनिमल है, बर्ड है, मंकी है, तो क्या है? ऐसे सिंपल क्वेश्चन ही होगा. So ऐसे आए हैं. Okay, many questions have come like this. And yellow-rumped flycatcher. With flycatcher you can easily guess this. Flycatcher is a bird. Okay, so any of these flycatchers are birds. Okay, small birds. This is what is yellow-rumped flycatcher. So it is a bird which is usually found in Korea, Japan, China, Mongolia. For the first time it was recorded in India in the Narcondam island of Andaman Nicobar. What is special about Narcondam Island? It's a volcano. What type of volcano? Dormant volcano. Barren is active volcano. Okay, two important volcanoes of Andaman Nicobar. One is barren, another one is Narcondam. Barren is active, Narcondam is dormant. What do you mean by dormant volcano? It may erupt in the future. It has not erupted yet in the human history. And human history is very small. So I hope you guys know that. And in addition to this, there are a few more birds here. So just go through it. Just remember they are birds. Okay, you don't have to do anything else. Okay, so and quails are the birds. Okay, quails. In this, there are three important species which have not been recorded in the last few decades. Okay, so which is usually endemic. It is endemic to India. It has not been recorded and not yet declared as extinct. Okay, so extinct nahi hua hai, but not just recorded. Here the important one is Gerodon's courser. So Gerodon's courser is a critically endangered species. Okay, it is not recorded in the last few decades. Himalayan quail. This is what is Himalayan quail. Okay, both are critically endangered, Himalayan quail as well as Gerodon's courser, and a few other species which are endemic to Western Ghats. Endemic means only found. Okay, so we know that we have many different variety of hornbills. I hope you guys know about this. Okay, hornbills are found not only in Nagaland. So most commonly hornbill festival se aap yaad rakh sakte ho. So this is the great hornbill. Okay, which is commonly found in Nagaland and Northeast, but it is also found in Western Ghats. Okay, great hornbill. It is not endemic to Northeast. It is found in Western Ghats also. Okay, but what is in news is the Malabar grey hornbill. Okay, this is what is Malabar grey hornbill. This is endemic to Western Ghats only. Otherwise, normal grey hornbill are found in Delhi also. I hope I don't know if any of you have observed. Okay, so you will find. So Delhi में मिलता है, इधर उधर मिलता है. And Malabar parakeet. So this is what is Malabar parakeet. So what is the difference between parrot and parakeet? So do we have parrots in India? Yes? Have you guys seen it? They are not parrots. In India there are no parrots. They are all parakeets. They are all parakeets. There are no parrots in India. Parrots are very colorful birds, big sized birds, which are usually found in the rainforests of South America. Okay, it is common misconception. These big sized birds are called as parrots. Okay, ये है parrots. ये ऐसे zoo में रखा होगा. Okay, but otherwise it is not naturally found in India. They are not natural to here. In India, what we have is parakeets. It's a very common misconception. They are not parrots. All this green, okay, with red beak, they are all parakeets. Okay, there are different varieties of parakeets. One of them is Malabar parakeet. ठीक है. So another important bird species is Nicobar megapode. Very important species of Andaman Nicobar. This is what is Nicobar megapode. Okay, so if I am right, it should be critically endangered. Okay, so check its latest status. Yes. So another organization in news is Worldwide Fund for Nature. Okay, WWF, जो आप लोगों ने सुना है बचपन से. So WWF, it was established in 1961 as World Wildlife Fund. Initial name was World Wildlife Fund, WWF. Later it was changed to Worldwide Fund for Nature in 1985. But in 1 or 2 countries it is still called as World Wildlife Fund only. Okay, so एक दो country में ऐसे अभी भी बुलाते हैं, but actually one of the widespread, the name is World Wide Fund for Nature, WWF, 1985. The headquarters is in Switzerland, Gland. Two important things about this WWF. Okay, so it is a organization, NGO, so many bodies are part of it. It is working in many countries, including India. Okay, one of the very large-sized NGO, we can say. Okay, so it is present in many countries. So one interesting thing about this is you must have observed or even experienced this movement. Okay, so Earth Hour. Okay, so once in a year we will turn on the light on a specific day. Okay, so that is what is Earth Hour. Okay, that is usually celebrated, observed in March. Okay, so March में होता है. So this was started by WWF only. Second thing important about WWF is a report which is called as Living Planet Report. It gives the overall status of the world's biodiversity. Okay, whether it is increasing, decreasing, what is happening to the overall trend. So that is what is Living Planet Report. You just have to know this. Who releases this Living Planet Report? WWF. And in fact, our UN CBD also uses this Living Planet Report as an indicator to measure the overall progress of the targets, earlier Aichi targets, now Kunming Montreal targets. So that is about WWF. Any doubts here? Okay, so let's start with the wetlands, lakes and wetlands, come back there. So how to cover these wetlands? So do we have to cover it? Yes, most important, you have to cover it, no other option. So how many Ramsar sites are there in India? 80 ho gaya. Okay, so this year you have extra 5. So 4 years before it was 27. It would have been very easy for you guys if it was 3-4 years before. So now we have to remember 80. Do you have to remember all 80? No, not required. Okay, so but you have to remember those which are declared in the last 2 years. Last 2 years you will get sufficient numbers. Okay, so last 2 years the wetlands are declared, you have to remember. Okay, so then what exactly you have to remember about them? Basic details. Okay, first information, in which state it is located. Okay, so last 2 years का wetlands जो है Ramsar sites. The Ramsar sites from last 2 years. So here you have to remember first thing, where is the location, in which state it is located. Okay, second thing, the type of wetland, whether it is natural or man-made. Okay, whether it is a natural wetland or man-made wetland. Okay, so many of the times it was directly asked. The third thing, if there is anything important news about this, okay, so either it is current affairs related or anything which is very specific, Okay, something which is special, which is found only here. ऐसा कुछ मिला तो तब भी याद रखना, otherwise तो 1 and 2 is fine. ठीक है, no need to go in too detail here. Anything which is very very peculiar. For example, Pichavaram has been declared as a Ramsar site. Where is this Pichavaram? Tamil Nadu, Kaveri Delta, towards the northern part of Kaveri Delta. Okay, so Pichavaram is a very good mangrove site. So that you have to remember. Good patch of forest, mangrove forest is there. Anything which is very peculiar about this. Or if it is located on any important river. The association of river and the wetland is something which you have to remember. वहाँ पर add कर लेना if there is anything peculiar about this. Other than this, there are few other important Ramsar sites. Other important Ramsar sites. These you have to remember irrespective of whether they are in news or not. For example, Kevladev, Bharatpur, है ना, लोकतक लेक, है ना, चिलिका लेक. Whether they are in news or not, you have to remember about them. So you have to cover, you will find around 15 to 20 Ramsar sites. ठीक है? So third, there are few non-Ramsar sites also. Some of the wetlands and lakes which are not Ramsar site, they are also important. For example, Pulicat Lake. Pulicat is not Ramsar site. Okay? So it's a very important lagoon, big size lagoon, but it is still not Ramsar site. What is the significance of Pulicat Lake? So it is just on the banks of this Pulicat Lake only we have Sriharikota. Okay, the rocket launching center of ISRO. So like this, the important ones. For example, another example, Dal Lake. Srinagar Dal Lake, it is not Ramsar site. Okay, like this, few of them important ones you have to remember. Like make a list of this and put it on a big size map, so you will be able to remember this. At least one question is compulsory, 1 or 2 questions if you are lucky, so you can easily answer about them. Okay, let's cover the ones which are in news, starting from Chilika Lake. So Chilika Lake, the southern part of Mahanadi Delta. Okay, towards the south of Mahanadi Delta we have. Okay, Mahanadi Delta is a huge delta along the Odisha coast. Is this made up of only Mahanadi river? So along with Mahanadi, this delta is also made by 3 important rivers. Brahmani, Baitarni, one more, Rushikulya river. Okay, that is towards the south of Mahanadi. So all the 3 together makes this huge delta. So towards the southern part we have Chilika Lake. Okay, Chilika Lake is Asia's largest brackish water lake. Okay, it is Asia's largest brackish water lake. What is brackish water? Mix of both fresh and marine. Okay, where the salinity is between 5 to 35 parts per thousand. Okay, this is a Ramsar site, one of the earliest Ramsar sites of India. Okay, so one of the earliest to be declared, and this was also part of Montreal's record. Okay, it was also part of Montreal's record, and there were 3 Montreal's record. This was there and this was removed later. Okay, so 2 more are still there, that is Kevladev in Rajasthan and Loktak Lake in Manipur. And interesting thing about this Chilika Lake is it is India's largest lake. India's largest lake. Okay, so compared to both any salt water, fresh water, brackish water, among all of this is the largest one. Which is the longest lake of India? Vembanad Lake. It is much longer than Chilika itself. And here you find the Irrawaddy dolphin, which is endangered. Irrawaddy dolphin is found in Chilika Lake in India. One of the 3 river dolphins found in India, other 2 being Gangetic dolphin and Indus dolphin. So next one, Pulicat Lake. So Pulicat Lake is here at the border between Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Pulicat Lake, and Pulicat Lake is not a Ramsar site, that has to be corrected. It is not a Ramsar site. So India का second largest brackish water lake हो जाता है. So after Chilika, of course. And it is on the banks of this, we have Sriharikota. Okay, Sriharikota is a A river island or a sea island? It's a sea island. It's a sea bar. Okay, so on this Sriharikota we have the launching site of ISRO. And it is across the border between both Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu border is also there. Some of the villages of Tamil Nadu are located on this side and Andhra Pradesh on other side. And it's a bird sanctuary, and a few of the lesser flamingos were recently found over there. That is why it is in news. Okay, so flamingos in India are also found in which other locations? Sambar Salt Lake. Good. Then? No, not in Bharatpur. Not Sultanpur. It's a run of Kutch. Okay, so run of Kutch and near to Bombay also, Mumbai. And as well as in Chilika Lake. Okay, so flamingos, very beautiful birds. So next one, Dal Lake. Dal Lake is not Ramsar site. This is something which you have to remember. Okay, Dal Lake is also called as Srinagar's jewel. It is located inside Srinagar. So does the Jhelum river flow through Dal Lake? No. It is on the outer flood bank of Jhelum river. Jhelum river doesn't directly flow through Dal Lake. Even this can be asked. Kolleru ke upar already aa gaya hai. Okay, whether Krishna and Godavari river flow through Kolleru or not? No. Even Dal Lake also is not located on the Jhelum river. Jhelum river is slightly away from it. Okay, whenever Jhelum overflows, then the flood waters reaches the Dal Lake. Okay, and I hope you guys know this. Dal Lake freezes during the winter. Right now it is frozen. Okay, you can literally walk on this. Okay. And so Dal Lake is also known for houseboats, not boat house. Okay, people call it as boat house, but once you go there, you get to know that it is not boat house, it is houseboats. Okay, houseboats, they are also called as shikhara. It's basically like rooms with the hotels on the boat. Okay. Bhoj wetland, where is Bhoj wetland? Bhopal. So if any of you have been to Bhopal, you would know this. In Bhopal, the city is surrounded by this, the lake is surrounded by the city. Okay, and there are two big lakes over there. So one is upper lake, another is lower lake, and this is what is called as the Bhoj wetland. And around this lake there is a recent development has happened, like they are planning to, they made it like a river front. Okay, so where the people can take a walk and tourism activity they are planning. And they have been running these cruise boats in this upper lake. So that has been recently banned by NGT. Okay, that is why it is in news. Okay, so of course Bhoj wetland is a Ramsar site. It's a man-made lake. Okay, man-made lake है reservoir है. Vembanad, I told you, the longest lake of India. Okay, so here we have Vembanad. So not inside actually, coastal mein. The Vembanad. And many rivers of Kerala flow into this. Okay, so including the very famous Pamba river. Pamba river is associated with the pilgrimage site Shabarimala. So not just nearby, Shabarimala is a hill actually, so but it flows near to Shabarimala. The people who go to Shabarimala will have to cross this. And even Kuttanad is also here only. What is Kuttanad known for? Agriculture heritage. Then below the sea level farming. Mogali rice. And then it is the lowest point of India. Kuttanad is the lowest point of India. Okay, so it is below the sea level. Which is the highest point of India? K2. K2 Mount Godwin Austen. Okay. So why this is in news? Because of the flowering of a invasive Cabomba furcuta. also called as pink bloom. Okay, so it's a kind of invasive species. So deeper bill, where is deeper bill? Assam. It is just in Guwahati only. So if any of you go to Guwahati, you would know. So just next to the Guwahati airport. Deeper bill. It's a natural freshwater lake. Okay, so it's basically a lake where it is. There it is called as Bheel. Bheel refers to the lake. Okay, it's the spill waters of Brahmaputra. Okay, Brahmaputra का ही जो spill waters ऐसे accumulate होके lake बन गया. It's a Ramsar site as well as a wildlife sanctuary. Okay, the news is the government is planning to allow some water sports and tourism activity, which may become threatening for the lake if it is not done sustainably. So what about Kanwar Lake or Kanwar Jheel? Last year this was asked. It is also called as Kabartal. It is located on Ganga river. No. Is it located on Gandak river? No. Buri Gandak? No. But in between. Okay, this is Ganga. So this is Buri Gandak. This is Gandak. So here you find the Kanwar Lake. So it is in news because the water level is decreasing and it is facing a threat of running dry, and this is a favorite area of UPSC. Many of the times they have asked this, which of the following lakes are drying up in the recent times? Okay, that is Kabartal. It's a Oxbow Lake. We know about Oxbow Lake. Okay, it is due to the overall deposition of sediments on the river bank, which separates a part of the meander, and gradually it turns into lake. Okay, this is a recently declared Ramsar site. Koleru, 2 times this was asked in UPSC in different ways. Koleru Lake. Koleru is located between Krishna and Godavari. Okay, this is what is Krishna, this is what is Godavari. It is not on these. This is what the question it was. Whether it is located on Krishna or Godavari. No, it is neither. It is connected through the system of streams, but it is not located on the river itself. Okay, it's a freshwater lake. And it's a Ramsar site, of course. It's the only Ramsar site of Andhra Pradesh. Recently, they are planning to declare it as eco-sensitive zone. Sundarbans, we know about Sundarbans, the deltas of Brahmaputra and Ganga. Okay, so the largest delta in the world. It also has the largest mangrove stretch in the world. Sundarbans, what is Sundarbans in terms of the status of protected area? It is everything. It's a national park, it's a biosphere reserve, it's a Ramsar site. It's also UNESCO heritage site, but natural, not cultural. Okay, this is a correction which you have to add. It's a natural heritage site, UNESCO. So it is facing threat due to climate change. We all know this. What kind of threat it can be facing? Rise in sea level, good. Then changes of salinity, then good. There are no coral reefs there. Mangrove destruction, increased cyclones, good. Increased storm surge. Okay, all of this threat is being faced. And recently one of the report is saying that this should be taken as a responsibility of global commons. Okay, but the local community will definitely face the threat here, right? So that threat, that loss should be shared by everyone. So that is the idea of loss and damage, right? So recent research is saying this. Okay. So that is about Sundarbans. Sundarbans का wildlife बताइए देखते हैं. Royal Bengal tiger. Not Bengal florican. No, not black panther. Olive ridley turtles towards some part. Okay, then most important, other than this, fishing cat, the state animal of West Bengal. Fishing cat. Saltwater crocodile. You may also find Irrawaddy dolphin. Okay. Gangetic dolphin also. Okay. Okay. So that is about biodiversity. The most important part is actually biodiversity. You can expect good number of questions over there. Okay. So let's start with the next part. Sustainable development. Break? Chalo. So let's start this after the break. Yeah. The next part, sustainable development. See, sustainable development as a concept was introduced for the first time with the definition clearly defined manner that was in Brundtland Commission report, 1987. So in this report they clearly defined sustainable development. And one of the major objective of the Rio Earth Summit was to work towards the sustainable development. For that they brought all these various important conventions and outcomes, all of this. So working towards sustainable development, we had earlier the Millennium Development Goals, MDG. So now we have Sustainable Development Goals from 2015 to 2030. Okay, so the 3 conferences which are held after, including the Rio. So Rio plus 10, Rio plus 20. Rio plus 10 was held in Johannesburg, Rio plus 20 was held in Rio itself. So Rio plus 30 did not happen. Okay, should have happened in 2022. Did not happen. So this is the overall broad framework. So, but this part includes majorly current related aspects only. Okay, so prelims as well as mains, the current related aspects. So we can talk about the energy aspect, the energy topics. Okay, so renewable energy, new forms of energy, and all these initiatives taken. So agriculture related, or any other forms of sustainability. Okay, to control the pollution or to reduce the impact of climate change, whatever the initiatives which are taken, innovation, the new things, all of this we put it under here in the form of sustainable developments. And more than the static, this is current part. सबसे ज़्यादा current part है, little bit information based. Okay, little bit factual, information based. So let's try to narrow it down. What are the important aspects which you have to remember? Okay, so let's start with the first part. Framework for acceptance of green deposits. Framework for acceptance of green deposits. So first of all, tell me what do you mean by green finance? What is green finance? Any finance, any fund, any loan, in fact it includes insurance also. Okay, any kind of funding mechanism which is raised, which is given, okay, borrowed for the green projects. Green projects are those which are environmental related projects or environmental friendly related projects. Everything comes under green finance. Okay. So green finance, a part of it is raised as the green bonds. Okay, so larger one is green deposit. A part of it is green bond. Green deposit is part of green finance. The larger umbrella is green finance. Green deposit is basically the money taken from the retailers or investors saying that we will return it back. Okay, the green deposit. Okay, so and we will use it only for green projects, environmentally friendly projects, sustainable projects. All of these are green deposits. A type of green deposit is green bond. A type of green deposit is green bond. What is a bond? Debt instrument. Okay, debt instrument raised by any investor. Okay, so any investor who wants to raise finance for the project. So as an instrument saying that I'll return it back with some extra amount interest. That is what is bond. Okay, so it can be raised by government or private, anyone for that matter. So if it is raised for the green projects, sustainable projects or environmentally friendly projects, it becomes green bond. Is that clear, the difference? So this is overall about the green deposits. Green deposits. So recently RBI has issued a framework for accepting green deposits, any kind of green deposits by Indian banks or any financial institutions. Okay, so in that context we have this news. It has released a framework for any kind of acceptance of green deposits. Because till now there were no rules saying what is the criteria for classifying a particular project as a green project. Okay, so the bank may take the money, what is the guarantee that it will give to only green projects only? There has to be some rules, regulation, right? So to control all of this, they have come out with these rules. So what are the important parts here? Okay, important points which I have to remember here. So only certain entities are allowed to take green deposits in India. Okay, so which of the following are allowed to take green deposits in India? All scheduled commercial banks. Okay, all scheduled commercial banks then can take green deposits, including the small finance banks. Okay, including small finance bank. But excluding the regional rural banks, the local area banks, as well as payment banks. They cannot take the green deposits. In fact, all deposit taking NBFCs which are registered with RBI can also take. Even the housing finance companies can also take. Okay, so these are the list of bodies. So which you have to remember, iske upar hi direct question aa sakta hai. Okay, so what are they? Scheduled commercial banks including small finance bank, excluding regional, rural banks, local area banks and payment banks. Okay, so including NBFCs, registered NBFCs and housing finance companies. And these denominations which are you are taking as deposit should be taken only in Indian rupee, not from foreign currency. And if a bank is taking this green deposit, first it has to take the deposit, then has to finance the project. It cannot do otherwise. Okay, it cannot start the finance first and then raise the deposits later. मतलब जिस बैंक के लिए जितना पैसा मिला है उतना ही वो दे सकता है. And it is also covered by Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation. What is this? Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporations क्या है? All deposits in Indian banks are protected by this. Okay, up to 5 lakhs. Any kind of deposits with the bank. Okay, so किसी का सेविंग बैंक में है, किसी का FD में है, so कोई भी जो भी deposit है, so up to 5 lakhs it is protected if the bank goes bankrupt. And those projects which the bank is going to finance, मतलब मैंने deposit ले लिया and then I am going to finance, right? First I have to take the deposit, then I am going to finance. And while financing, I can consider few of the projects which are going to be financed under PSL also. Okay, मतलब priority sector lending के लिए जो जिस rate में देना है, so some of the specified ones we can give them in that same rate also. And whatever such deposits, how much I have taken, how much I have given, should be audited independently by a third party. Okay, third party verification is compulsory because many of the times they rise in the name of something and give to someone else. What is the guarantee I have given? So to ensure the compliance, it is audited and checked by independent third party. And most importantly, it has specifically mentioned what are the projects which would be considered as green project. ये सबसे important है. What are the projects which are considered to be green projects? All renewable energy, Okay, so renewable energy तो हमें पता है. Okay, so any examples of renewable energy? Solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy. ठीक है. So energy efficiency measures, all projects related to increasing the energy efficiency. Cleaner transportation. Okay, so electric. Okay, so which are trying to reduce the overall emissions. Climate change efforts, adaptation efforts, all of these. Sustainable water and waste management. Okay, so green buildings. What is a green building? Okay, ठीक है, आगे टॉपिक है, आ जाएगा, पता नहीं है तो ठीक है. Okay, these are allowed. So these are not allowed. Extraction, production, distribution of fossil fuels are not allowed. Nuclear power is not allowed as a green project. Why? It may not result in emission, but it results in waste. Okay, so direct waste incineration. Incineration releases huge amount of carbon dioxide. Okay, and renewable energy projects generating biomass energy from feedstock originating from protected areas. Okay, so if any of these projects are deriving biomass energy from the feedstock coming from the protected area, that will not be considered as the green, because it is impacting the protected area indirectly. Alcohol, weapon, tobacco, gaming, palm oil industry, definitely not. Landfill projects, definitely not. Hydropower plants larger than 25 megawatts, this is not considered to be sustainable. Okay, so less than 25 is what is small hydro. So above that is large hydro. Large hydro is not considered to be sustainable. So that is why this is not allowed. And this is effective from June 1st, 2023. So you have to add this. Already under force. June 1st, 2023. It is applicable to all kind of deposits. Including green bonds. Okay? Any doubts here? So next one, sovereign green bond. So I just told you about green bond. What is green bond? A debt instrument for the green project. Okay, so any kind of green project के लिए जो raise करते हैं green bond. So a bond, that is what is called as green bond. So what is a sovereign green bond? A green bond raised by the government. Okay, government is raising the money from the public, saying that you give me money, so I'll return it back after some time. They will have a deadline. Okay, after that they will return it back. So since the government is taking, this is very safe. Okay, bonds are very safe. The government के ऊपर तो भरोसा है. Government तो पैसा नहीं है तो print करके तो दे देगा ना. So it can print and give the money, so no issues. So this is one of the considered to be more secure. So sovereign green bonds is, for the first time the government of India has issued. Okay, first tranche has already released, and it was it was in fact there was a huge demand for this. Okay, बहुत जल्दी खत्म हो गया था, oversubscribed. So it was announced in the budget of last year, 2022-2023 budget announced this. The government will issue the sovereign green bonds. Okay, so because this is for the first time it has happened, many countries have issued. So I'm talking about sovereign green bond, not the green bond. So when was India's first green bond was issued? 2015. Who issued? Yes Bank. Yes Bank issued this. Okay, so 2015 Yes Bank was the first green bond of India. So in the budget, the government announced that it will issue the green bonds, and it also gave some categories of projects which are eligible for this. It said that for these projects we are going to raise this. Okay, so that includes the renewable energy, energy efficiency, clean transportation, climate change adaptation, sustainable water, green building, sustainable management of living natural resources, terrestrial aquatic biodiversity conservation, almost similar to what we had studied earlier. Those where it is permitted. The green deposit permitted wala tha na, so almost similar. So it raised also. So where did this money go to? Consolidated Fund of India. Okay, so it went to Consolidated Fund of India and will be managed by the Ministry of Finance, Public Debt Management Cell. Will it come under the audit of CAG? Yes. Okay, so remember this is for the first time this has been issued by the government, so this is important. So what is the sustainability bond? Green bond is fine. What is the sustainability bond? So green bond talks about mainly about the environmental issues, environmental sustainability. Okay, reduction of environmental pollution, energy, okay, making it clean energy. Sustainability includes the larger picture, which also includes the environmental aspect. Sustainability includes the social sustainability also, economic sustainability also. So there are three aspects to sustainability: social, economic and environmental. Okay? So when you talk about environmental, it becomes green bond. When you talk about the larger picture of sustainability, that is what is sustainability bond. It may also include few of the social sustainability aspects. Okay? So that larger picture is basically the sustainability, and with that sustainability intention they are rising, it becomes sustainability bond. Recently, India's Exim Bank has listed the sustainability bond. Okay, so that is the news. Okay, so you should know what is sustainability bond. This is the larger picture. It includes the environmental aspect as well as social aspect as well as economic aspect. What is this rhino bond? Rhino bond kya hai? Yes. It's specifically raised for conservation of black rhinos. Where is black rhino? Africa. So Africa में दो rhino था, कौन सा? White rhino and black rhino. Black and white. So South Africa raised this recently, so in order to protect the black rhino. That was called as the rhino bond. All these topics are very volatile. Okay, so overall idea समझ लो, revise करो. Resource efficiency, circular economy, industry coalition. Here you have to first remember the word circular economy. So I had told you briefly about circular economy in the topic of pollution, e-waste. Okay, what is the circular economy? The producer, distributor, consumer are connected back through recycler. Okay, so whenever a producer, okay, the brand owners, manufacturer, whoever is producing a product, this product will be given to a distributor, distributor will sell it to the consumer. Consumer will consume it, and whatever the waste product, it is usually disposed. The recycler will collect this disposed product and he will try to recycle, he will try to extract it. Okay, if it can be reused, he will send it to some of the sectors where it can be reused, or if it has to be broken into different parts, you extract some of the raw material from it and send back to the production. This is what is circular economy. Okay, the main idea is to reduce the waste generation in economy. Okay, so what is the guarantee that the producer will take it from the recycler? Through extended producer responsibility. Extended producer responsibility puts the blame on the producer itself. You are responsible to collect it. So many of the times they will not be able to do it by themselves. They will go for this registered recyclers, collectors, who are given the responsibility. Okay, तो यहाँ पर भी certificate का concept है. There is a concept of certificate also. If somebody is not able to fulfill their overall the EPR targets, so they will be able to purchase these certificates from those who have fulfilled more. Okay, so easy to fulfill. So that idea is what is called as the circular economy. Okay. So in under G20 there is a working group called as Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group. Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group. Okay, this is part of G20. Okay, G20 has many such working groups in different areas. So this is in the context of the overall climate sustainability. Okay, so recently its meeting was held in Mumbai. So in there they launched this initiative called as Resource Efficiency Circular Economy Industry Coalition. Okay, तो इसका आउटकम है G20 का आउटकम है ये वर्किंग ग्रुप का आउटकम है रिसोर्स एफिशिएंसी सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी इंडस्ट्री कोalition. इंडस्ट्री कोलिशन से आप कंक्लूड कर सकते हैं दिस इज द कोलिशन ऑफ लीडिंग इंडस्ट्रीज. Okay, so those industries which are maybe polluting, high intensive industries, for example steels, cement, etc. And there it is very necessary to bring the circular economy. Okay, circular economy for industries. Okay, so they have come together as a coalition. And what are they trying to achieve? Resource efficiency. So इसीलिए नाम रखा है resource efficiency circular economy industry coalition. A total of 39 companies have come forward and joined this coalition as founding members. Okay, they are planning to reduce the overall waste generation from these industries and increase the energy efficiency and bring the aspect of the circular economy into it. And most importantly, they are trying to bring a synergy into all these different targets which we have fixed. So right now at the global level, we have few important global targets. One is SDG 2015 to 2030. Okay, second one is Paris Agreement. Okay, Paris Agreement was supposed to, it's about talking specifically about 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. Third one is Kunming, Montreal. Okay, they are trying to bring synergy of all of this. Okay, so in addition to this, we have Kigali also, Kigali and Montreal. India has also taken few initiatives for this circular economy. Okay, you can see it is there in the box. Few of them we have already discussed. Okay, so life movement. The idea is to go towards more sustainability. EPR. Okay, वही example मैंने दिया. Plastic waste management. Okay, Swachh Bharat mission, zero waste country. So metal recycling policy. All of this overall trying to bring resource efficiency and circular economy. So green building. I told you about green building. So what is a green building? A building painted in green color. Building under the shade of natural green. Energy efficient building. Not completely. Energy efficiency is one part of it. Okay, so or even net zero carbon building, that is also part of it. Green building is the larger concept. When you talk about energy efficiency building, okay, energy efficient building, it talks only about the energy consumption, okay, energy wastage. Suppose you are making a building in such a manner that you are allowing more natural light, okay, wind, so that overall energy consumption is reduced. That is what we call it as energy efficient building. Okay, so net zero carbon building is the one which will not release any of the carbon dioxide through these appliances. We use various appliances, okay, from fridge to AC. Okay, many of them release some of the carbon. No emissions. So this building, if has no emissions or if it is capturing some of them, it becomes net zero building. Then what is a green building? Green building is a much holistic concept, including from the starting point of construction itself. We are going to use the material which is environmental friendly. And we are going to manage the building in an environmental friendly through energy efficiency. We are going to ensure that there are not much of emissions. Okay, we are trying to include the net zero concept also. The overall from the starting construction to management to use to any other through its entire life cycle. So we are going to handle this building in an efficient manner so that it is not contributing towards the waste generation. Okay, so or higher energy intensity. So such kind of buildings are called as green buildings. Okay, it's much larger picture. So in that case, there are few terms which is important for prelims. Okay, so here you give notice to this. Okay, so some of the material which are used in green construction. Okay, so because it includes the aspects of construction also. Agrocrete. What is this agrocrete? Concrete, agrocrete. Okay, so concrete we use a cement. Cement is highly energy intensive. The production of cement itself involves huge release of carbon dioxide. So agrocrete involves the building material construction using the waste material or agriculture waste. उससे जो बनाए हैं तो उसको बोलते हैं agrocrete. Carbon craft tiles, the tile which is made by this upcycled carbon, okay, or recovered carbon. Geothermal heating, okay, using natural heat of the earth as a heating method. Okay, not everywhere it is possible. Wherever there is geothermal energy, it can be used for heating. Okay, it is used in some of the countries of Iceland. Okay, so Iceland may use karte. So in some of the countries where these geothermal springs are there, okay, so hot springs are there, there it is used for heating purpose. And smart grid refrigerators, vegetated rooftops, ये सब चीजें. So overall, this is the idea of green building. So here there is a certification body. It is called as IGBC. What is this IGBC? Indian Green Building Council. Indian Green Building Council is basically a certification body of India, which is also a member of World Green Building Council. Okay, so the headquarters is in Hyderabad. And this is different from the lead rating. Lead rating next topic है. Okay, वो थोड़ा सा अलग है. I'll tell you that. Lead is basically about the energy only. Energy and design aspect. This is the larger aspect. Okay, there is this certification body called as IGBC. Recently उसका एक meeting हुआ था. Indian Green Building Congress. कहाँ पर हुआ था? चेन्नई में हुआ था. So you should know what is green building, what is IGBC, and where is this Green Building Congress held? Chennai. Lead rating क्या है अभी? What is this lead rating?
एयरपोर्ट्स के बारे में काफी सुना मैंने.
Green building talks about these environmentally efficient buildings, okay, so which is trying to reduce the waste, trying to reduce the overall emissions. That is what is green building. So greenfield, brownfield refers to any of the project. Okay, so a greenfield project is one which is newly made, greenfield, brownfield already existing. So you are either doing expansion or renovation. It is not referred to environment as such, something completely new, greenfield.
कोलकाता ऐसे चेन्नई का एयरपोर्ट है जो इंडिया का फर्स्ट ग्रीनफील्ड एयरपोर्ट हुआ है, और अभी शायद 25 समथिंग कुछ एयरपोर्ट्स हैं जिसको कंसिडर किया एज अ ग्रीनफील्ड एयरपोर्ट.
से ग्रीनफील्ड एयरपोर्ट नहीं है, शायद और कुछ टर्म यूज किया होगा. ग्रीनफील्ड मींस न्यूली मेड. ओके, सो चेन्नई का नया बन रहा है, वो नया बन रहा है. ओके, दैट इज ऑफ कोर्स ग्रीनफील्ड, बट इट इज नॉट फर्स्ट ग्रीनफील्ड एयरपोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया. मे बी सम अदर टेक्नोलॉजी दे आर रेफरिंग टू, सम अदर थिंग दे आर रेफरिंग टू.
इसमें RECIEC में एक डेटा बैंक में जो फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट है ना, ट्रिपलिंग ऑफ ग्लोबल रिसोर्स कंजप्शन सिंस 1970.
कौन सा
सर ये इंडस्ट्री कोलिशन वाला जो है ना, इसमें जो डेटा बैंक में जो फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट है सर, वो थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए. ट्रिपलिंग ऑफ ग्लोबल रिसोर्स कंजम्पशन सिंस 1970, इसका क्या मीनिंग है सर?
It's a overall general statement. मतलब since 1970, overall resource consumed in the world has tripled. In that only 77.2% is in circular nature. ठीक है? So lead rating system is basically where they recognize the major aspects of efficiency in the construction. Okay, so there are basically healthy, efficient, carbon, cost-saving green buildings को यहाँ पर certificate करते हैं. So for that purpose, they have this lead rating system. It's a globally recognized rating system. Okay, so lead rating. What is lead zero? So overall, in terms of the waste generated, if there is net zero, the building will be given the certification of lead zero. Okay, so the overall certification, if it gets zero, that means there is no waste at all. There is no waste at all, no, in terms of the energy consumption, highest efficiency. Okay, so in terms of the water, high efficiency, no waste generation, and carbon is also net zero. Such kind of projects are called as lead zero projects. And the news is India has overtaken both USA and China in terms of the net lead zero certificate. मतलब lead zero certificates इंडिया में जितना मिला है वो सबसे ज़्यादा है. Okay, China US से भी ज़्यादा है. At the national level, we have such kind of rating system. What is it called as? Griha rating. Griha. Green rating for integrated habitat assessment. So this is older one actually. So this is developed by TERI, the Energy Resources Institute. So it is a rating system at the national level where they give a 5-star rating for any building. Okay, 5-star rating will be given for any building, applicable for 5 years. Based on overall the method of construction, the way the building is consuming the energy. Okay, so based on all these aspects. Mission on Advanced High Impact Research, Mahir. So if you see the overall name of this mission, it is very difficult to conclude in which area they have started this mission. Okay, तो यही होता है क्वेश्चन, कौन सी सेक्टर में है. Mission on Advanced and High Impact Research. So basic idea is in the context of power sector. Okay, so India's power sector, we know that it is one of the highly inefficient. Even though we generate huge amount of power, so in terms of transmission and distribution, so we incur huge loss. Okay, so बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान होते हैं. So it is because of this we experience higher cost of power. Okay, so जो loss होगा, do you think the government will bear that? In order to bring this emerging technology in the power sector, the government has started this mission called as Mission on Advanced and High Impact Research, Mahir. 2 ministries are involved. What are they? Power and Renewable Energy. Okay, Power, Ministry of Power and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. It's a 5-year program starting from 2023 to 2028. And there are going to be 2 bodies here. What are these 2 bodies? So one is the Technical Scoping Committee, second one is the Apex Committee. So what is the overall objective of this mission? So they are planning to attract the new developers or entrepreneurs or the companies which are already functioning to bring new technology in the sector of power. Okay, either generation or transmission or distribution, so that we can overall increase the efficiency of energy in power sector of India. Okay, so वो exactly क्या करना है वो तो decide नहीं किया है, तो आगे जाके decide करेंगे. Okay, so overall it's a very big mission, so we are trying to bring the high-end technology here. And these 2 committees are mainly overseeing this mission. The Technical Scoping Committee will be chaired by the Central Electricity Authority. So they are the one who is going to identify and recommend the potential technologies. Okay, so and they will also support these people who are going to invest here with the finance. Okay, so and they are going to help them in development of technology. And whatever the technology they are going to develop, it will be jointly shared by both. Okay, the patent IPR rights will be shared by both. What about Apex Committee? Apex Committee will be chaired by both the ministers. Okay, so they look for international collaborations and approve and monitor the research proposals. And here you can find the areas which they are going to target. This is important for us. So overall mission kya hai? What is the area and what is the objective, that you have to remember. Otherwise you have to remember these areas identified for research. Okay, so there are a total of 8 areas identified for the research, and in this area whatever the new technologies which you are going to find, so please cover it through science and technology. It's a hint from environment. ठीक है, environment से हम कुछ science and technology related topics जो हमें पढ़ना है उसके लिए उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा आपको डिटेल में देखना पड़ेगा. Okay, what are these? Indigenous cold rolled grain oriented technology, nanotechnology for EV battery, solid state refrigeration, geothermal energy, Okay, alternative to lithium ion storage battery, modifying electric cookers or pans, and then green hydrogen for mobility, and then carbon capture. Okay, so just the areas are highlighted. Whenever you see something related to this in your science and technology, please try to read it in detail about that. US India Renewable Energy Technology Platform, Technology Action Platform, RETAP. So there is already existing cooperation between US and India. Okay, so that is what is called as US India SCEP. What is this SCEP? Strategic Clean Energy Partnership. Okay, India and US both are partnering towards bringing clean energy. Okay, so overall energy security, electrification, decarbonization with that intention. Okay, so both are trying to develop some technologies here, right? And in that they have covered a total of 5 pillars. There are total of 5 pillars under this strategic clean energy partnership, SCEP. What are these 5 areas? Please see this. One is renewable energy. Second one is sustainable growth. Third one is power and energy efficiency. Fourth one, responsible oil and gas. Fifth one, emerging fuel. So why US is partnering with India? What is the necessary for US to partner with India? Not power surplus. So market is there. Okay, then. Then. So we have the mind required for this technology development. And also we are showing enthusiasm to develop clean technologies, clean power. Okay, so that is very much required for USA also. They are highly dependent upon petroleum. Okay, so natural gas, petroleum gas के ऊपर dependent है, and they are also fed up with these imports from this West Asia. Okay, so how much they can interfere in their international politics? Okay, they have to concentrate on their domestic also. So better they thought, let's move towards the clean energy. Okay, so with that, so they want this to achieve this energy security and clean energy. Okay, so they have tied up with India. There are total of 5 areas which are identified. One of them is renewable energy. For renewable energy, this platform has been established. Okay, the larger part is this partnership between US and India. In that, one of the aspect is renewable energy. With the attention of achieving this renewable energy, this has been recently launched. Okay, so to accelerate the development of emerging renewable technologies. That is the overall idea of this. They are going to concentrate on most of the renewable energy which you can think of. Okay, so wind energy, okay, geothermal energy, tidal energy, green hydrogen, all of this they are going to partner. And they want to do research and development, testing, okay, training, skill development, जो basically करना है, सब कुछ करेंगे उसमें. Okay, so यही basic idea है रखो. SCEP is the term which you have to remember. The partnership between India and US. In that renewable energy के लिए a platform launch हुआ है. In this context, if you can see, there are few terms which are given here. This is important for us. The emerging technologies in power sector. Okay, so you may get a direct question here. AirGen recently seen in news in the context of power. What exactly is this? What is this AirGen? AirGen, generator of electricity from air. Just a prototype. Okay, so let me just show you its image so that it can at least remember. This is what is AirGen. So it's just a prototype where recently by using protein nanowires, they have developed a device, okay, very small device, which is capable of capturing the moisture from the air and generate power through that. Okay, so they are using bacteria, some kind of bacteria which is capable of doing this. Okay, it's like a fuel cell which consumes the fuel and break into energy, produce energy. Okay, so like that. So you just have to know air gen, what exactly it is capable of doing, capable of absorbing the moisture from the air and generate power through that. Okay, it's like a small battery, chota sa battery type. Okay, just a prototype, not developed yet. So what is this microgrid? We know this power grid. Okay, so the larger big one, the smaller one in small area. Okay, so it will be functioning independently from the power which is generated in this source only. All of this will be connected to this microgrid and this will be distributed here only. Or it can be even connected to the larger grid from where it will source and then helps in efficient distribution. Overall increase the energy efficiency and also helps storing this local power. Okay, that is what is microgrid. What is this power wall? Have you heard of power wall? If you are following international technology, you would know power wall is already developed by our Tesla. Yes. This is what is power wall. Okay, so it's basically a technology which is standalone, which can store the renewable energy produced in the area, and whenever the normal power goes off, you can use it. जैसे हमारा inverter है, वैसा वाला ही है. But the distinguishable feature is that it stores the renewable energy. So for example, you have a solar rooftop, okay, so you will generate electricity, okay, so and you can store it here, and whenever the power goes off, you can use it here. Okay, so that is to store the clean energy. That is what is power wall. Vertical wind turbines. What are these vertical wind turbines? So this is also under implementation in many countries. Okay, particularly near to highways. Okay, so we know about the small, the big size turbines, wind turbines. Okay, onshore, offshore. But these are the smaller ones which are installed usually next to the roads, highways. Okay, so highway roads के बगल में install कर देंगे. The fastly moving vehicles will make this turbines run, and that will generate the power over there. It is under implementation in few. Okay, under testing they are generating some power also. It has to be escalated. Okay, so these are important ones. So go through it. What about our International Solar Alliance? So it's in news. It's in news for the Global Solar Facility. Okay, so I hope all of you know about International Solar Alliance. Okay, so it is started by whom? India in France. Okay, so along with the help of France, in France, COP, kaun sa COP? COP held in 2015. Okay, 15 wala COP. And there we launched this organization. It's a intergovernmental organization. What do you mean by intergovernmental organization? The governments, okay, the sovereign members, sovereign governments can be the members of this. Initially it was limited to those countries which are in the tropicals, okay, so then later made it open for everyone. Okay, now nearly 97 countries are there, including India. Of course, India is the one which has started this. So where is the headquarters? Gurugram. Okay. So it has started an initiative called as Global Solar Facility. So even though the name says Global Solar Facility, this was targeted initially for Africa only. Okay, this is for Africa. So what is the intention? What is the objective? To attract the finance, private capital into the solar projects. Okay, so overall financing mechanism के लिए लिया है, and in many cases where there is a requirement of payment guarantee, insurance fund, investment fund, like all this funding which is required for the solar projects and targeting specifically for Africa. Later it is going to be expanded to other parts of the world also. Okay, that is what is Global Solar Facility. So it has received a huge amount of money as a donation or said to receive. That's why it's in news. And few other initiatives are there which have been already asked in UPSC. One sun, one world, one grid. I hope you guys know this. Okay, this was launched in COP26. Okay, this is asked directly in the mains only. ये program क्या है, ऐसे ही question आया था. So what exactly is this? One sun, one world तो ठीक है, ये तो सबको पता है. One grid to connect all these different solar generating solar countries with a single grid, international grid. Okay, so overall larger picture, larger project, and it is led by India and UK. Glasgow में announce हुआ है, UK याद रख सकते हैं. Okay, so presently implemented by ISA and World Bank. Okay, दोनों मिलके implement कर रहे हैं. What about STAR initiative? STAR, S refers to solar. Solar Technology Application Resource Center, STAR C. Okay, so ISA का initiative है. So basically to develop a strong network of institutional capacities among the members. Okay, so UNIDO का भी है, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. चलो छोटा टॉपिक्स हो गया. ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन लास्ट ईयर 2 क्वेश्चन आ गया है, तो थोड़ा सा एक बार देख लेते हैं, क्या पता इस बार भी आ जाए. We know hydrogen is one of the most abundant element. So what about in atmosphere as well as lithosphere? Is it abundant? No, not as a pure form. Okay, so in the pure form it is not available. Okay, only if you go to the uppermost part of the atmosphere you will find hydrogen, right? Otherwise it is on the surface of earth that is most commonly available as water, H2O. And if you are able to separate this hydrogen, it is a very good fuel. Okay, it's a very good fuel. It will not produce carbon dioxide. Okay, just burn the hydrogen in the presence of oxygen, it will produce water. Simple, H plus O2, H2O. There is no release of carbon dioxide. Okay, so 4H plus O2. So there is no release of carbon dioxide. One of the highly efficient and highly clean source of energy. So why we are not using? इतना सारा पानी है. It's cost. So the cost of extraction of hydrogen is very high right now. Not only the cost of extraction, even the cost of storage. Okay, so not only the cost of storage, even the technology of storage, technology and transportation of storage. So there it is highly inflammable. Safety issues are there. But this is considered to be the energy of the future, because we know we will be able to develop technology through which we can actually make the production of hydrogen cheaper, and the storage can also be made safer and cheaper. So that's why people are giving more preference to this hydrogen. Okay, but hydrogen can be produced from various different sources, and based on the source we have different types of hydrogen. The one which is commonly in news, what we call it as a green hydrogen. Why it is so important? Because other forms of hydrogen which is produced from other sources, that itself produces carbon dioxide. The process itself produces carbon dioxide. Green hydrogen doesn't produce carbon dioxide. So how green hydrogen is produced? Electrolysis of water. You break the water into hydrogen and oxygen, you will get hydrogen. Simple. बोलने के लिए simple है. You can also produce hydrogen from the natural gas. Okay, so water से produce करो, green hydrogen हो गया. Natural gas से produce करो. Natural gas, how can you produce from natural gas? It is hydrocarbon, right? There is hydrogen in it. Most of the fuels, they have hydrogen in it. From natural gas through steam reformation process, it is a method of conversion of hydrogen. Okay, so from the natural gas only. ठीक है, so they use the natural gas to react with the water, steam से react करके तो उससे hydrogen extract करता है. That is what is called a steam reformation process. Important है, इसके ऊपर भी direct question expect करो. Okay, so steam reformation, if it involves the carbon capture and storage, because it during the steam reformation it involves the release of carbon dioxide. So if you capture that carbon dioxide and store it, this becomes blue. Blue is also fine for us. Okay, so because we are not releasing any carbon dioxide, even that will be stored. But if you are not going to capture the carbon dioxide, just the steam reformation, it becomes green hydrogen, sorry, gray hydrogen. Okay, through pyrolysis, it becomes turquoise. Okay, through pyrolysis, you can convert the natural gas into the synthetic gas, but it will be releasing some of the some of the other emissions also. You can convert coal into hydrogen, वही burn करके उसमें gasification में synthetic gas अलग कर दो, you will find hydrogen. So if you use brown coal, it becomes brown hydrogen, black coal, black hydrogen. ठीक है? Nuclear energy can also be used to produce hydrogen. Electrolysis में जो energy हम लेके आ रहे हैं ना, so if that energy is coming from the nuclear energy, so then it becomes pink hydrogen. ठीक है? ये कौन सा है? Naturally occurring underground hydrogen, this is very, very less. Okay, so if at all we find this, this is called as white hydrogen. Okay. So this is about hydrogen as a fuel. So what is the news? National Green Hydrogen Mission is something which is established by the, which is announced by the government. National Green Hydrogen Mission. Okay, it's a national mission. Overall, green hydrogen के लिए हमारा जो we have a huge potential. So we are planning to develop this green hydrogen hub as a global hub. Okay, for production, utilization, and even exporting. The overall target is to have at least 5 MMT. Okay, MMT is million metric ton. Okay, per annum. हमारा प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटी होना चाहिए. So using this we should be able to have an additional 125 gigawatt of the renewable energy in India. What is the overall target? 500. ठीक है. So and we are planning to reduce nearly 1 lakh crore of fuel imports. Okay, so nearly 80% of India's fuel is imported right now. If we are able to develop this much of hydrogen energy, we'll be able to reduce that. It has two components. One is site, another one is ship. Okay, one is site, another one is ship. What is site? Strategic Invention for Green Hydrogen Transition Program. Okay, so this is mainly the financial aspect. Okay, they are going to provide the finance. What is ship? Strategic Hydrogen Innovation Partnership. So this is the PPP framework. Okay, site is basically referring to the financial aspects. The ship is referring to the partnership aspects. So recently, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has notified some of the standards. Okay, so for this, जो hydrogen को green hydrogen मानने के लिए कब मानेंगे, in which condition only this will be classified as green hydrogen. So these are the criteria which has been recently notified. That is the news. So because what is the process of green hydrogen production? We have to electrolysis के through steam, मतलब water के अंदर जो hydrogen ना उसको हटाना है. We have to separate it, hydrogen and oxygen. So electrolysis requires electricity. Okay, electricity comes from majorly coal thermal power plant. So फिर तो ये green नहीं हुआ, है ना? So it also depends upon the source of electricity. So that is why it is clearly defined. A green hydrogen is the one which is produced using only renewable energy. You cannot use other forms of electricity produce green hydrogen. In that case, this will not be considered as green hydrogen. Okay? And overall emission of carbon dioxide, because in this entire process, in the production, okay, the transportation of water or the cleaning of water or even the transportation of hydrogen also, we release amount of carbon dioxide. There is a limit. What is the maximum amount of carbon dioxide you can be released to produce hydrogen? Okay, so that should be 2 kg of carbon dioxide per kg of hydrogen. This is the maximum limit. Beyond this, this will not be called as green hydrogen. Okay, so from well to gate emission मतलब total end to end. And overall हमारा जो BE है, so this will be the accredited agency for this, all this such kind of green hydrogen projects. Who is going to be producing this green hydrogen? They have to get the verification from BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So हमारे BEE के बारे में और कहीं पे पढ़ा था, कहाँ पर था वो? Carbon Credit Trading Scheme, CCTS. So there also the certificates are issued by BEE only. So what is this green hydrogen fuel cell? What is a fuel cell? Energy, electrical energy.
By having cleaner water as the final.
Come again, come again.
So it either produces energy using solid or liquid fuel by getting water as a byproduct.
Yes. So it's basically a fuel cell takes some fuel and through chemical process it converts it into electricity. Through some chemical process it will convert into electricity. So that is different from battery. So battery stores the energy. This produces the energy. Fuel cell produces the energy. You have to give some fuel. Okay, that is what is fuel cell. So the same thing is there, anode cathode is there. So but the fuel runs through that, and during that the electrons get separated and electrons is transported from anode to cathode, and that is what is the flow of energy, right? So that is what is fuel cell. No need to go in detail. So just basic difference samajh lo. The basic difference is it takes some fuel and generates electricity through chemical process. Okay, so during this process it releases some water. Okay? Hydrogen fuel cell takes hydrogen as the fuel. You have to fill hydrogen. Okay, so it's not something it will catch from the air. You have to fill hydrogen. So hydrogen fuel cell. That is what is basically hydrogen. So hydrogen fuel cells are considered to be most clean, most energy efficient, because other forms can produce some amount of impurities. So recently Indian Oil Corporation has launched India's first green hydrogen fuel cell bus. Okay, so that is why it is in news. Are we producing hydrogen? Yes. Hydrogen is an important raw material used in some of the industries. Okay, so it is used in fertilizer industry. Okay, so and even steel industry also. So we are producing, but it is little bit costly compared to the other fuels. That's why it is not very widespread. Okay, this fuel cell, if it is hydrogen based fuel cell, definitely it is having many various advantages. Okay, so overall energy efficiency is higher, energy density is higher, and even the refuel timing is lower. All of these benefits are there. So but the disadvantages are the same thing. Okay, जो था वही continue होगा hydrogen का भी. Other initiatives for the promotion of hydrogen fuel. Okay, hydrogen for heritage scheme important है. ये कौन सा scheme है? Hydrogen for heritage scheme. Yes. So this is announced in the budget of 2023-2024. Okay, so 2023-2024 budget में announce हुआ है. So basically the government has announced through Indian Railways to manufacture hydrogen trains. Why it is heritage? ये नहीं दिया है वहाँ पर. They target the heritage locations. Okay, heritage locations as well as the hill stations. Okay, they are going to introduce in a phased manner. Okay, so initially targeting the heritage locations, and जो हमारा hill train, toy trains है ना, तो वहाँ पर introduce होने वाले हैं. Okay, they are planning to introduce a total of 35 hydrogen trains, and they are planning to introduce some of the existing diesel trains with the retrofitting of hydrogen fuel cell. What is this green ammonia? Where is ammonia used? Fertilizer industry. Okay, to produce nitrogenous fertilizer. So the production of ammonia itself involves huge amount of emissions, carbon dioxide. A green ammonia is the one which is where there is no involvement of carbon dioxide. Okay, it is totally free of carbon. Okay, that is what is green ammonia. What is blue ammonia? Okay, so during the production of ammonia, if whatever the carbon dioxide is released, that will be, if it is captured and sequestered, that becomes blue ammonia. Okay, so if ammonia is produced using fossil fuel, it becomes grey ammonia, grey or brown ammonia. Ethanol blending क्या होता है? What is ethanol? So blending of ethanol is ethanol blending. So what is a biofuel? The fuel derived from biological origin is biofuel. Okay, example is ethanol. Any other example? A specific example of biofuel? Biogas. Okay. Then biodiesel. Okay. So even methanol can also be blended. So all of these are produced from organic sources. Okay, since they are produced from organic sources, they are called as biofuels. So there are 4 generations of biofuels. Okay, first generation, second, third and fourth. First generation are the very easy one to produce. Okay, so whatever the sugar related crops are there from which we can easily produce. Okay, how to produce this biofuel? Through normal fermentation process. Okay, so that is what is first generation. If you use the food products directly, it will become first generation. If you use the waste, okay, and non-crop, non-food products, it becomes second generation. Okay, so here comes Jatropa. Have you heard of Jatropa? Jatropa is a plant from which you can extract biodiesel. Okay, it is not used for food purpose. So that becomes second generation. Okay, what about Pongamia? Pongamia is also a plant which is used as biopesticide. The seeds of Pongamia are used to make powder and to use it as biopesticide as well as biofertilizer. Okay, it is used in sustainable agriculture. Okay, so it is also oil producing, even this can produce biofuel. The third generation never relies on this any kind of plants, they directly rely on algae. Okay, so even algae can produce biofuel, enough, so we can grow algae, so huge quantity. Okay, even if you don't want to grow, so just do the eutrophication of lakes, you will find almost jitna chahiye utna zyada milega. Okay, that is what is algal biofuel. Okay, fourth one is just a concept where we can genetically modify the microorganisms to produce more feedstock. So that is fourth generation. So we are at second generation. Okay, third and fourth to aage hai. Why first generation is usually not suggested? It will impact the food security. Okay, so बहुत लोगों के लिए खाने के लिए नहीं है, हम यहाँ पर fuel produce करना है तो फिर दिक्कत हो जाएगा, है ना? So it may impact the food security. So can we use these biofuels directly? No. Why? So engine बना देंगे. Can we make those engine? Not very easy. Okay, so their calorific value is less. Okay, their ignition, their overall knocking, anti-knocking properties जो भी है ना, वो थोड़ा सा अलग है. Okay, so but they are much cleaner compared to the normal petrol and diesel. So that's why we just mix them. That is what is the blending program. Okay, right now whatever the petrol is available in the petrol pumps, they are all blended. Okay, बस आपको पता नहीं है वो blended ही है. ठीक है? So we have already achieved all over India 10% blending. 10% blending is achieved. So petrol के साथ में क्या blend होता है? What is blended with petrol? Ethanol. Okay, so ethanol can be easily produced from any of these. Okay, so it is easily produced from this sugarcane, beet. Okay, so even few of the other crops, जो rice husk, उससे बहुत सारा चीजें हो जाते हैं. Okay, so all of this can be used to produce ethanol. Okay, so ethanol is blended with the petrol. Okay, so right now we have achieved 10% of blending target, that is achieved in 2022. Okay, so in 2022 only we have achieved the 10% target of ethanol blending. So we had the target of achieving 20% blending by 2030, but the government shifted it to 2025. By 2025 we are going to achieve E20. E20 means 20% of ethanol, 80% of petrol. So when we mix this, it will increase the efficiency, it will reduce the emissions, because normal petrol results in higher emissions, a blended petrol results in lower emission. And it is also expected to reduce the cost. Okay, cost भी reduce होगा because it is cheaper to produce ethanol. Petrol we are importing. ठीक है? So that is the idea. Now comes the question. Can we blend this and use it directly in our vehicles? So whatever the cars, whatever the vehicles which are using petrol, okay, so diesel it is not. Okay, diesel 5% targeted है वो achieve नहीं हुआ, it is not achieved yet. Okay, so petrol is blended. So can we use it without any kind of modification? But we are already using this. 10% is we are using. What is the limit? What is the limit up to which we don't need any modifications? 10%. So it is given in most of the user manuals of the cars. Okay, so not many would know this. Okay, so and in fact there is also a condition that the warranty for these vehicles will be applicable only up to the 10% blending. So government has announced. Okay, so it is expected that the new vehicles which are produced, okay, so from 2023 will be okay with E20. Right now we have only E10. Okay, whatever the vehicles which are there, which are using the petrol, they are okay with up to E10 only, because the engine will start to have issues. Okay, these engines are not built to handle this high level blending. Okay, they will start to have issues. E20 will also have issue. Not immediately, in the longer run. After 20-25 years, you will start to have issues. Okay, in the long run, it will gradually start to show issues. So for that, we need to have engine modification. But it is expected that these automobile companies will produce those vehicles, so which are okay with this up to E20. E20 tak minor modification se chalega. Okay, with minor modification, you can run up to E20. But after E20, you need major modifications. So that is what we call it as the flexi fuel vehicles. So what are these flexi fuel vehicles? Which can, no, hybrid is different, I'll tell you. Okay, hybrid is different. Flexi fuel vehicles are those which can use two types of fuels. Okay, they will have two engines or two types of fuel tank. Okay, they will use the same engine to burn different fuel. Okay, so ऐसे होते हैं, that is what is flexi fuel. Or they will use a mix of both. For that you should have a separate transmission, separate engine. Okay, पूरा technology अलग होना चाहिए. You cannot use in the normal vehicles. So what is hybrid vehicles? Yes. Okay, so normal internal combustion engine will also be there. So in addition to that, you will also have battery. Electric vehicle will not have any internal combustion engine. Okay, it will just store the energy in battery. You will charge it. Okay, it will run on the battery. That is what is electric vehicle. Okay, hybrid uses both internal combustion as well as the battery, but the battery is not required to be charged. So when the vehicle is moving, with that energy only it will charge automatically. That is what is hybrid. Hybrid is more energy efficient. Okay. So any doubts?
सर जो पावर वॉल थी वो रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी स्टोर करती है, तो नॉर्मल लिथियम आयन बैटरीज स्टोर करती है रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी.
So batteries will not discriminate between renewable non-renewable.
तो सर पावर वॉल की ज़रूरत ही क्या थी?
उनको तो पता भी नहीं होता है कहाँ से आया है. Just store. For battery it is just energy. Okay, but these batteries we should also see, if at all we are seeing the overall concept of renewability, we should also see how these batteries are made. If the batteries are itself are polluting, there is no idea of this. That is why we are going away from it. ठीक है?
तो सर पावर वॉल बनाए क्यों?
पावर वॉल इज जो टेस्ला ने बनाए हैं, तो वो तो पूरा सोलर सिस्टम के ऊपर ही है. सोलर मतलब सोलर एनर्जी सिस्टम के ऊपर है. ठीक है, मतलब सोलर एनर्जी कैप्चर करके उसको सेव करना है. सो देयर इज नो अदर वे. इट्स ए वेरी स्पेसिफिक ब्रांड जो पावर वॉल बनाए. अदरवाइज पावर वॉल इज ए ब्रॉडर कॉन्सेप्ट विच हैज टू बी डेवलप्ड ओके मच फर्दर.
ओके सर.
Feedstock in fourth generation, sir.
Feedstock. The feedstock will be this biomass produced by the genetically modified organism. It is expected that by genetically modifying certain organisms, we can produce more energy intensive biomass. It is just the idea.
Sir, how is B and C molasses produced and classified?
How is?
B and C molasses for sugar cane really?
Molasses is basically the sugar beet, right? है ना? So, but sugarcane is majorly it's considered to be the first generation, and molasses is basically it's used in various industrial application also. Okay, so very less is used for food products, so that is why it is usually used. Molasses को use करता है, but not directly for the sugarcane. But however, sugarcane is not suggested at all, because sugarcane is highly water intensive. Okay, so we are growing sugarcane using this too much of water, and we are even to pump the water we are spending so much of energy. There is huge carbon release from the production of sugarcane itself. So that is why it is not supported. Usually it is not supported.
सर उसमें BNC क्लासिफिकेशन भी होता है क्या?
नहीं, इतना डिटेल नहीं चाहिए.
Sir, does BS6 engines are supporting E20?
BS6, no, not all. That is what. So based on the presently available one, so it is only up to E10 is supported. E20 will support. It's not like it will not support. If it is not supporting, the government would not have implemented. It will support. In the long run, it will start to have some issues. Okay, so but the automobile manufacturers are expected to consider this. Okay, from 2023, though whatever is being manufactured, they are going to consider that and incorporate this. Okay, so that it will not create much of issue. Up to E20, it can be done. You don't need major modification, but still it will result in some issue. That is what I was saying. E10 is totally fine. E10 is totally fine. E20 के बाद में तो you need total modification, but in between it will cause some issue.
And sir, with respect to the storage of energy, there was this current affair that I think some Nordic country, I guess Sweden, was making energy islands.
Come again?
Energy islands. I believe it is Sweden. So is it just with respect to wind energy or like on the
What is this
shelf?
energy island?
So basically they are storing the energy on a particular island.
In how exactly they are doing it?
I just don't, I just know the term.
So let's see. Okay, like that. Anything else? Yes.
My question is regarding the third generation fuel. So mainly what I have read is cyanobacteria is like Anabaena or nostoc can be used to generate biofertilizers and such. So can biofertilizers be considered as a form of biofuel in future?
No, biofertilizers will not be considered as such, but we have to use them to produce the biofuel. They will not be used as directly, right? So we have to again use a different process to produce some form of biofuel. We have to extract the biofuel. If we are able to extract, then it will be called so. Any kind of biofuel which is extracted from the algae origin will be called as third generation. It is not done yet.
Is white hydrogen environment friendly?
White hydrogen should be environmental friendly because it is naturally stored. Okay, it should be. But they may contain some of the impurities. Okay, so that will release. So, but it is not something which is very widely used. And there is very less white hydrogen as such. Chalo, I'll stop here. So I don't know if any of you have got this mail, so we will have one more class on Saturday afternoon. Okay, Saturday afternoon, not evening. So you have another class in the evening, I guess. So in that class, we'll finish the rest of the topics. Okay, we'll quickly go through that. Thank you.